All right, good evening, good evening. This is the Black Geeks getting ready with episode 128 of our podcast as we talk about the Game of Thrones season 5 premiere. What's up, Black Geeks? How y'all doing?
Yo, everything's good. Let's get it popping.
Everything's
I'm not trying to
popping.
go to work tomorrow, dude.
Dude, why'd you have to bring that up for?
That's all I've been thinking about all day, man. It's one of those days.
Work the last place I'm trying to be tomorrow.
Straight Sunday is only a countdown. You can't really enjoy it like you want to.
Especially after having a nice weekend, nice and sunny, 70 degrees in the DMV.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. But let's go ahead and get into some quick news. We're not doing a full SIF news night. We're just going to bring up some of the topics that piqued our interest this week. These are some things we're going to be talking about later in this week. But just we want to keep our fellow geeks out there informed so that everybody can know what to look forward to in the geek world. So this week, of course, Daredevil premiered on Netflix this week. So
Yes, sir.
How many shows? How many shows in there, y'all?
the entire season.
You watched the whole thing?
Oh no, I didn't watch the whole thing. Yeah, I
That's
had
what I'm
next.
saying. How many
Nah, I'm,
shows
I'm,
in
I'm
there?
three in. I'm three in right now, and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely
Six.
loving it.
Six, biatch.
All
Episode
right.
6.
Also,
Or we need to take all their joints to Netflix.
I know.
well, as we know, Daredevil is the first in their four TV show deal that they currently have. Of course, we also have Luke Cage coming, who's already been cast. Jessica Jones, who's already been cast, and of course, who else do we have? Oh, and the Defenders. We're doing Defenders as well. So the premiere and the reviews are out, and people are loving it. As you can see, the fellow Black Geeks here, the Potbelly Samurai King face, obviously love it. So y'all check that out. We'll be talking about this in the coming weeks. Also this week, HBO Now premiered. HBO Now is the new HBO service that allows people to get HBO without having a cable subscription. Now, for those of you who don't know what HBO Now does specifically, HBO Now is actually like HBO Go. So if you subscribe to HBO Now, you're basically subscribing to HBO Go with the caveat that you don't have to have a cable subscription. However, for those who want to know, and I'm still working on 100% confirming this, but we're reasonably certain that if you sign up for HBO Now or the HBO package on Sling TV starts at $15, $20 a month, and you get so many basic channels, but they're also allowing you for an additional $15 get HBO, and you can both stream and do on-demand HBO. So Sling TV may be the way to go for those who are
Yeah.
looking to cut the cable. So
So what are the premium channels is Sling working with?
they have other channels like
Can
I want to say
they getting like
Stars,
Showtime?
but not Stars. What's the other one?
Showtime?
No, not
Like
Showtime.
Encore?
Encore. They have Encore. They don't really have a lot in the premium channels, but Sling TV isn't really trying to do that just yet.
So
Um,
are you getting, because HBO and Cinemax usually come as a package deal. Are you getting
HBO
HBO and
hasn't
Cinemax, or just
HBO hasn't
HBO?
HBO hasn't announced yet whether or not they're going to offer Cinemax as a HBO Now or streaming option at this point. But again, this is the first blow into the whole cord cutting revolution, as I like to call it. So I think we should see that before the year is out, is my prediction. But like I said, currently Sling TV is a good deal if you haven't checked it out. You get some pretty decent channels. You get your ESPN, you get CNN, you get HGTV. You get a couple of good channels out there that you can stream for only $20 a month. And now with the $15 HBO option, you can both watch HBO live and on demand. Makes it a very viable option. Otherwise, you can get HBO Now exclusively through Apple TV for a couple of weeks, and you can also get it online, and it'll be opening up to other partners in the coming months.
Okay, so with the Sling TV thing, and I don't mean to take up all the time, but since I'm looking to cut some bills here, does it come with a box, or do you have to
No,
get a wireless TV, or
it's an
I know
app.
it's strictly internet.
It's a completely app. It's an app.
Okay, so
Right
you need a
now,
smart TV then.
I don't think it's on smart TV. You have to look at the various applications. You have to go to Sling TV website. I know it's definitely on the Xbox One. And I'm not quite familiar with all the other avenues. I know it's not on PlayStation yet, and I am not sure if it's quite in the App Store. I haven't done all the avenues, but I know for a fact it's definitely on Xbox One.
Because if it's in the App Store, then probably be able to run it off Apple TV.
As far as pushing it from your iPhone or iPad to Apple TV, yes, but it's not an Apple TV app just yet. I'll put it that way.
Got you.
Yeah, as you know, Apple TV is a closed platform, and Apple decides what apps are available on Apple TV for now, anyway.
Yeah, Apple need to open up a little bit on the Apple TV.
And there's a rumor that's going to happen in June, but
That
well,
that definitely needs to happen because that's my pet peeve with Apple TV right now.
exactly. Um, Also, speaking of Apple, since we brought it up, this week
Get
also was
that
the
check. Get that check.
was the launch of the Apple Watch. Pre-orders were on April 10th. And the MacBook also launched this week, the new and improved MacBook, not to be confused with the MacBook Pro. I know a lot of people are wondering, well, what's the difference between a MacBook and a MacBook Pro? As you know, the MacBook is very thin, thinner than a MacBook Air. It only has one port, the new USB-C standard, which is basically can do everything, video, communication, power, etc. But it comes in three colors. And the thing is, the MacBook is, I call it a replacement for the MacBook they stopped producing in 2010. The early benchmark says it's about as powerful as a 2011-2012 MacBook Air. So for those who are looking at this device is really made for those of you who want extremely portable devices, who don't plan to do anything powerful. It's not meant to replace your MacBook Pro, which was also refreshed this week as well with the uh, new Force Touch pad, and so get some more performance as Apple start introducing new features.
Dude, as a
Um,
Sith, you probably like saying Force Touch, huh?
well, I have yet to try it out. And speaking of, it just dawned on me when you was talking about, Force Touch. I was thinking about other stuff Apple did this week that kind of went under the radar. Beats headphones, they came out with three new colors this week to match the Apple Watch. So they have like a gold and white, a slate, basically that seems to be the Apple's color scheme now. We're going to have slate everything, white everything, and gold everything. So
I look good.
if you're fancy out there, you can now get your gold Beats with your gold watch and your gold phone. But
Hey,
We going back
if you
to
have a
'85.
Conius,
We gonna get the
if you have
gold
a
dookie
gold watch
chains.
though, if you got the gold watch though, you pimping. Let's put it that way, you
You gonna
pimping.
Conius,
take it back to
Conius,
'85. You're gonna get the gold rope chain and everything to go with it. So you gotta have the headphones, the gold chain,
Conius.
and the
Yeah,
watch.
Can y'all hear me?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thoroughly pissed at you right now, son. I am so out there right now. I don't know because it was late and I was tired. I did what you said without thinking it through all the way, and I didn't get the watch I want. So I dropped all that dough for the watch that I for real didn't want, and it's almost to the point where that is just crazy.
So inquiring minds would like to know,
Let's see the watch.
Well, ladies
what
and
watch did
gentlemen,
you get?
I got the sport watch, but here's the deal. Remember what I showed you when I said I want the all black on black?
Yes,
The joint
the
that I got doesn't
$1,100
have
one.
all black. It's got the silver trim, not the black trim like I wanted. So it's not all black on black. And even if I did get the black band, it would have a silver trim in the middle. I would have to get the silver trim. I would have to get the silver band, not the black band. And I wanted the all black. And when I went back and looked at it, because I'm talking
Why
itch,
was your cadence just like Cat Williams for a second?
listen,
I
I don't
thought
know
you was
why
about
it's
to.
like how
I thought you was
maybe I
about
was
to go
feeling
there, pimping. I
maybe
thought
I
you
was
were going to
feeling
tell me
like
you didn't want the black band. You wanted the silver
it.
band.
I wanted, but see, that's what I'm saying. I want the all black watch with a black casing. You had me go and cop the sports watch with the silver casing. And uh,
How did I make you do
I'm still trying to understand that one because the blind man can see black and silver. So what the problem? Like,
yeah,
I'm going to
normally
because
I'll take every
see
opportunity to
the
bash
one the
Econius.
one that
Like I
was like,
do,
hey,
but right now I kind of don't see how
is
me
it
and
because
some
that's
could.
because you wasn't there? This dude talked me down off the ledge. Like if I was you, I would just get this one because it's pretty much the same thing. I wouldn't get that, and I showed him
first
the
off,
one I
first
wanted.
off, first off. This is what was said.
Ooh, go ahead and lie.
Babyface wanted the steel Apple Watch that comes in black, the sleek steel one.
Uh,
Apparently, the steel slate one.
it's
I guess you
only
had.
the one I was originally going to get.
Um, see, here's the thing. No one knows for sure what Apple's plans are. On the surface, it looks like you should be able to get either whether it's a sport or the steel ones, the sport or the Apple Watch. You should be able to choose between silver or slate, whether it's aluminum or steel. It looks like at the pre-order they had predefined configurations, and you had to either get that or nothing. So I'm guessing, based on what King Face is saying, is when he went to get the steel slate, it only came in the 1100 configuration. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And I
So
thought it
you
was the other
couldn't
way
get the
around.
basic
I
599
thought I'd be able
slate,
to get the all black case. That's what I thought I was getting, the all black case, and just get the sports band. I didn't care about the band. The band
which
is irrelevant.
which theoretically should have been possible.
That's what I thought was possible. But it wasn't. Especially when I went back and looked at my order. I was like, well, god dang. I didn't get
So
that.
did you end up with the steel, or did you end up getting the aluminum?
I got the steel. I didn't get the aluminum.
Oh, so you just got this a regular
I got the
silver aluminum.
silver casing, not the
Oh,
black case.
so but okay. Well, here's what I would suggest, and considering that in the first 2 seconds of the pre-orders being open, they automatically went from April 24th to like May something.
I think we got it. Did we get it while it was in April?
Mine says May something.
God dang it.
It was like on Twitter, everybody kept saying, "Got mine, got mine, got mine," and we were sitting there dancing with our iPhones, trying not to drop them, trying to figure out how to get
Yeah,
this
y'all
thing to
dudes
work.
over there balling.
Ha.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
funny.
about to be
You're
waiting.
you selling these rocks. You don't know what's going on. Craigslist,
I'm on the phone
Craigslist,
with
and
these ballers right now.
Craigslist and eBay like a mug.
They're balling out of control, getting Apple
Oh,
Watches.
and Bison right now in the chat, he just let us know that
Uh-oh.
his watch will not be delivered till June. Ouch.
See, it might not be till August before I could afford one.
Another person in the chat, they said 1700 for a crapple watch, please. We always got it. We always got one of them in the.
Listen, Uncle
There's always one.
Uncle Sanders told me I had to pay him $3,000, so Apple Watch gotta wait.
Yeah, Uncle Sam. Tax day, Wednesday, everybody. Also this week, before we
Uncle
get
Sam,
into,
like the great child molester, like he gonna get you no matter what.
before we get into what we actually came here to see, got a couple of quick announcements, of course. Spider-Man. It's a name that's synonymous with Sony for a long time. We all know. Now that with Marvel, there's been some revelations about Spider-Man this week that I think are worth noting. It's been said that Spider-Man will definitely not be an origin story. Spider-Man will definitely be in high school. And as far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is concerned, it's been announced that Spider-Man will already be existing somewhere doing all the things that we know from the origin story, whatever that means. And our first look at Spider-Man supposedly will be in 2016 Captain America Civil War. Personally,
It's also
and it won't and it won't be Miles Morales. It will be Peter Parker. So those of you who was hoping that you were going to get Miles Morales or another Spider-Man, nope, it's definitely going to be Peter Parker. That was also confirmed. Thanks for the assist there, Potbelly. So I happen to think they're full of it. I happen to think Spider-Man is going to show up in Avengers. That's just me. I know it sounds crazy.
We'll find out in 2 weeks. We got our tickets.
We got the tickets, but it's funny because that's another thing. Josh Whedon came out and wanted to confirm that there is no end credit scene for Age of Ultron. He said he didn't want the fans to be sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting just to give them the finger when it's over. He did say that there will be a mid-credit scene though. Kind of like what was that? Which one had Thanos at the end? Was that Thor? Or was that the first Avengers? That was the first Avengers.
First Avengers.
Yeah, so basically he did confirm there would be a mid-credit scene like in the first Avengers, but there will not be a post-credit scene.
They should have
So
done it like the first Avengers though, because the first Avengers had a mid credit and a post credit, and the
in the
post
post-credit, but
credit
the
was just like
post-credit
a
was
gag. It was like a joke.
yeah, and they shot that
Warmer
well
was
after
funny.
the fact. But here's the thing. So I don't know how many of you are going to be like, we're still going to wait for the post-credit scene anyway, just in case. But he said he's not screwing with everybody. I personally would rather just wait and see what happens. But I'm saying that that mid-credit scene, to me, I think is going to be Spider-Man. And they've already ruled out Carol Danvers, which is what I thought they were going to do originally. They already said it's definitely not going to be Captain Marvel, and Spider-Man's not supposed to show up to 2016.
Carol
So,
Danvers, Miss Marvel and not Captain Marvel.
well, Captain Marvel, of course, is well, the original Captain Marvel anyway was Marvel, was a Kree, but she took up the mantle. Miss Marvel, Carol,
Yeah,
took up the mantle of Captain Marvel.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and the current Miss Marvel, if you will, is Kamala Khan. So, but anyway, now that we got that out the way, let's get into the topic of the night. Is King Face with us? Or did he say he had to go? Got something's on fire or something?
Face just sent the note like, "Yo, gotta go."
All right,
So
so
I'm just
it's just gonna be us and the people in the chat. If you're there listening and you want to comment on this,
wow. They
so
gonna let the odd couple run the show tonight?
I know this is not going to end good for anybody who has ever listened to this show when we were on Blog Talk Radio, the podcast, or been watching this on YouTube. Us two on the show alone may not necessarily be a good idea. And I'm going to go ahead and interject and try to thin the ice a little bit. We got Bison is in the chat, and he's just saying, look, back on Avengers because he don't want us to like kill each other. But he did say that Avengers is clocking in at 2.5 hours. Heck no, is it really
Yeah.
2.5?
Sure.
Haha, that's gonna be good. And you know it's gonna
But
be.
they all come in around that length. Like the first one was a little bit over 2, if I remember. Actually, let me just go to IMDb and
I
check
know
right
we sitting here like we don't have the
now.
power of the internet.
Of the 6 plus.
Let's see. Oh, you're using 6 plus, like you're the only one that has such things.
You
Oh,
started out with the 6. Yeah, the first one was 2 hours and 23 minutes.
really? Okay, so all right, Bison, you good? You good? Bison was right. I'm a guess. Why would they make it shorter? All right, so let's get into it because some people are wanting to know what we think
Actually, the same length.
about tonight's premiere. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, Potbelly, because let's put a fair warning out there for those who are watching this. We have read all the Game of Thrones books. A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R. I can't write book 6
Spoilers,
in a
baby.
reasonable amount of time, Martin.
Look,
So
I can kind of relate to him because I'm about 2 years behind on the sequel to As Darkness Falls. So I can understand Mr. Martin. I
so
understand.
so so
But then again, I don't really understand because I got all kind of other stuff I'm doing. I got kids and jobs and school and work and everything else. You're a professional writer. You should be sitting
you
at your
got one
table.
job. You got
Basically,
one
finish the damn
job.
book.
Finish the book. But
And
so
then you got assistants and you rich.
we're
I'm
gonna
broke and I ain't got no assistant. Finish the book, man. Finish the book.
all right, let it go before we get really upset. You know how
Nah, man.
you
Like, come on.
you know how this George R. thing, works as
Listen.
works as
And I
so
ain't trying to be funny or nothing. I'm just being honest. George R. R. Martin looked like he ain't seen the inside of a gym since the 60s.
we're not going there. We're not going there. But you got to remember this is going to be on YouTube and
Listen, I love the man. Like, I think he's a brilliant. He is a writer
oh,
for a
but you
generation.
don't have to insult him.
I'm not trying to insult him. I'm just being honest. Like, if he was in, better physical shape, I wouldn't actually say this, but because again, he's getting up there in years and he probably doesn't have the most healthy of lifestyles. I would like to see him complete his master work.
I just want to reiterate what George R. Martin said. I believe it was last year or the year before last when people started saying the same exact thing, but even more visceral than the way you're saying it. He basically said anybody who's fearing that I might die or anything like that for I finish books, he said, F you.
As he should have.
You
As
know,
he should have, as he
because
walked to the grave with a carrot.
a
Like,
lot of people have voiced concerns that he could mess around and die before this is finished. And I mean, when you consider that the first novel came out in 1996, I believe. I believe it was 96. Yeah. So he's been writing this for quite some time, going on 20 years to write 7 books, or at least a planned 7 books. So much so, it's been a problem, and it's been a rumor that this season of Game of Thrones would not only reveal things that have not been published yet, but they may very well not follow the books at all, which is a perfect segue into the first episode tonight, the season premiere. What'd you think about it right out the cuff? What's your original, honest to goodness opinion?
I enjoyed it, as I always do, but they are jumping around a bit, and I can see where they're starting to deviate a little bit from the books.
Okay. I happen to obviously, if you read the book, you can tell that they're all over the place. And say that because, you know, the scenes with Daenerys, for instance, that didn't happen. None of that happened to book 5. Book 4 was, in fact, all of book 4 was in Westeros in the north. So it was all about Jon Snow and what was happening with Cersei, I believe.
Here's the thing though, like what is it, books 4, 5, or 5 and 6? Like because they
There is no
tell
6 yet.
no, like books 4 and 5, because they tell a story. It's kind of like he tells a story from this side in book 4, and then he tells the same. So he continues the story from the other side in book 6. Like they're books in books 5. Sorry, book 4 and 5 run parallel. I think
Yeah. No, no,
so.
oh, yeah.
So
It makes sense that they're not. In
he
other words, they're not sequential.
exactly like they're concurrent, not concurrent. They're parallel. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
no, they're.
They,
You're right.
it makes sense for them to jump around, and if you hadn't read the books, you wouldn't get that because it's kind of like the world he's created is so big. It's like this is happening in Westeros, but at the same time, this is something else is happening over in Tyrosh, or this is happening in Pentosh, or this is happening in
Dorn.
in Dorne. Yo, I love Dorne. Wait till they get to Dorne.
Yeah, but,
Dorne, Dorne is the truth.
that's another thing. We're gonna have to guard ourselves this season because it was hard to hold back the whole Joffrey thing. It was definitely hard to hold back the whole Red Wedding thing. But there is some stuff like I'm gonna tell you right now. When they showed Lancel tonight, um, I remember my tweet was something along the lines of, "Oh crap, they doing that this season," and I don't
Oh, the
want to say,
Sparrows.
yeah, with the Sparrows, because that
Yeah, that's a
leads,
good storyline.
yeah, that's a great storyline, and
But they are doing that this season.
they have to do it this season.
They doing it. I'll put it to you like this: everybody who has either mixed feelings, ambiguity,
No, don't
and
do it. Don't,
hatred
no, because you about to give it away.
towards a certain character,
Oh, come on, everybody know what character you're talking about.
comeuppance is coming. Comeuppance are coming. That's all I'm gonna say.
The comeuppance don't stop, and they led with that tonight, which is what I also thought was very
Yeah,
interesting. That they showed the scene when Cersei was a child and she went to go see the witch, and I said, "Oh, they're doing that."
they changed it though. They changed that
They
scene.
changed it a little bit,
They changed it a lot because it was they eliminated all the backdrop and the pretense behind that scene and
but
they just
the
cut to
point
it.
is
They also
it still got to the point though.
with Tywin's funeral, they cut out a lot of the context too with Tywin's funeral
I
because
wonder if they're going to bring the uncle in it though. I
They
think,
already brought the uncle in.
but but they didn't really do it like this episode. The continuity of it. I
Yeah,
know
because
he plays a major role though. So
they gonna get to that. That's why they just introduced him. But with Tywin's funeral, like you remember the smell? That was like a
yeah,
major plot point.
I
They
can't
didn't into
believe
that at
I
all.
can't believe they didn't do that because that was actually
A major
a
plot
good
point.
like a funny part. It was funny.
And they
Um,
carried that
and
forward like almost through the whole book, like when they referenced like the
yeah,
indignity of it.
it was like the fact that Tywin sat there and he smelled so bad. That was like a major thing. Like, yo, everyone was sitting up there trying to, pretend.
And it's like they forced the lords like to be there, and the lords had to endure it.
Yeah, they had to
And,
sit there and endure Tywin's smell. You know, the decisions they make, like,
and hell, Tyrion cracked jokes about it. Like, I guess what they say about Lannisters is not actually true. Tywin is not shit gold after all.
yeah, they don't do all the stuff in the books. Um, they do make some interesting decisions. Like for instance, when Mance Rayder was burned at the stake, if I remember correctly,
Oh, don't do that. You going to give a spoiler.
no, it was already on the show. Um,
Yeah, but if you go into Mance,
no,
you're gonna get some spoilers.
I'm not going that deep. I was going to say, wasn't he screaming
He
before Jon
was.
Snow shot him?
He was.
Because I distinctly remember because I tweeted, "Get your earplugs ready," because that was like in the book. It was like he was screaming so loud, everybody was just cringing at the fact that he was screaming, and then he was put out his misery.
Yeah, because Mance, and again, I'm gonna try not to do the spoiler thing here, but they get to that later on in the book, like why Mance was screaming the way he was screaming, because it was looked upon as like, yo, Mance is the king of the North. He ain't died with dignity, la la la. It was like this whole big thing, and like he just lost a lot of respect in death. But then you get to the end of the book and you find out, oh crap, okay, so I understand that now.
Yeah,
So it's
so they completely got rid of that plot
it,
point.
it's a lot going on there. Like basically, it's kind of like believe half of what you read and none of what you see. Like it's so many subplots and so much subversion going on right now in this first
I
book.
think and they did. You got to remember they have insight to the end game more so than the readers do, obviously, because we have not gotten all the books. And in order to do this show, they had to consult with, George R. R. Martin, much in the way of the Harry Potter films. It's funny because Bison mentioned, parallel between George R. R. Martin and J.K. Rowling. When they were making the Harry Potter films, they had to consult her several times because there were things they wanted to do, and she hadn't finished the books yet, and she had to tell them, no, you can't do that. I don't know how tight the relationships are in both situations, but one of the famous ones is
Oh,
Alan Rickman, who played Professor Snape. He had to take it a secret. He was the only one on the cast that knew, even the directors, no one knew. He the only one that knew that Snape was good in the end because she told him he wanted to do something really bad to Harry in one of the scenes, and she told him you can't do that, and he said why, and she told him Snape's true story, and he had to swear to secrecy. So I say all that to say we know that George R. R. Martin consults on the show and
he
helps with,
has creative control.
yeah,
Like
and
he
he
has
helps for the
veto
show.
power.
So he's obviously told them what's going on, which is why I bring up that I believe they also had some stuff potentially from book 6, because they're showing stuff from Sansa.
Yep, I was about to say that
And
they changed her up a lot.
for those who read the books, again, Sansa is barely mentioned in both books 4 and 5. Um, you know, like
I
another
wouldn't go that far.
it's not as they get to a certain point with her story and it stops. They don't go any further than a certain point season. For all intents and purposes, storytelling. It would to finish what has already been written in the books. You only need barely what a book or so, a episode, maybe. She doesn't have a season. She doesn't have a season's worth of material. I'll tell you that much. As far as the books is concerned.
She doesn't, but it's like they kind of they skipped over a few things with her. She's got some cool stuff, but it's not. She's got minor league stuff. She's kind of like a minor character, and
Because again, he wrote so much. Like, uh, I think books 4 and 5, if I remember correctly, he wrote them as one book, and it was so big he split it in half and then just fleshed it out 4 and 5. So he dealt with one side of the world in one book and one side in the next book. So there were characters like, for instance, Bran is not going to be shown in this season because hey, there's just no room for Bran in that story. But per the books, that was all book 4, I believe.
it was both, but not by a lot. It's uneven. Like the way the stories play out in books 4 and 5, you get kind of a lot of everybody, but it's really uneven in the distribution, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so ultimately I think they're doing a good thing with the show right so far, where they are showing a little bit of everything because fans would just be crazy if they didn't get to see Daenerys. Because if they followed the books to the T, you wouldn't see her this whole season. And that would drive people insane because they're on book 4 technically chronologically.
Yeah, you get some of her in book 4. You don't get very much
It's
though.
a loose mention. It's not like that whole thing with Tyrion and what's going on over there. That was all in one book. You got to remember he split the books in half.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because it's been what,
There's a
like at
whole. You got to
least a
remember there's a
year
whole.
since we finished these books. At least since
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in the North and Westeros. That
Tyrion gets a lot of play because he goes through like his
that was
journey
the
is
that was the
crazy.
other book with Dorne and everything that goes on, and that was all one book. Arya was in all in that. That was all one thing. That whole thing, Daenerys, Tyrion, Dorne, Arya, that was all one book. And then everything with Jon Snow, with Bran and Cersei, all that stuff was in another book. And so, whew, all I'm gonna say is y'all get ready for this season because this is really gonna be a good God, it's so hard doing these Game of Thrones shows because we have to fight to not say what we're thinking. That's the worst part. That is absolutely the worst part.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is this: as viewers, y'all in for a great ride. Like if they carry the season the way we think they're gonna carry the season, y'all in for a great ride.
But it's going to be the season. I'm going to predict that season 5 is actually going to be better than the books in the sense that to get the story they're trying to tell, you had to read 2 books. By them jumping back and forth, you're going to basically get the best of those 2 books at the same time. So you're not going to have that ebb and flow that you would have reading the book separately. So you're going to
Yeah,
get
I get that.
this thing with Danny, and then you're going to get this thing with Cersei, and then just when you thought that was it, you're going to get this thing with Arya, and then you're going to get some of Jon Snow. And we don't know how far north they're going to go. Not that we say anything else is going to happen far north, but there might be some stuff up there.
And then you get Tyrion. Tyrion's
And then
story
Tyrion was a
is off the
whole plot line in of itself.
hook.
And I just find it they went quick, so I'm wondering, God, I'm just wondering
And
what they're
didn't you
gonna
notice
do.
that? Like this was a really fast-paced episode,
Yeah, because they went right into what he wants Tyrion to do.
and that played out like over a
It,
few weeks when he was in
yeah,
Pentos when he first got there. Illyrio Mopatis was there at the
yeah,
villa.
yeah,
They
yeah,
had
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Illyrio's villa, and
But we don't know for a fact that that's not happening yet because he did say
it wasn't the
that.
spider, but the spider wasn't there.
I know. So that again, they're making some changes. Um, I liken it to them trying to make it flow better. I don't know, but he did say it's a friend's location, so that
Oh,
must
he
mean that
mentioned Illyrio's name. He told like it was Illyrio's place,
I
but
probably was tweeting at the time.
when he was see, that's why I don't tweet when I watch shows. Like I actually enjoy the show.
Live
But
tweeting is an important part of this process.
listen, man, you do you. I'm actually pay attention to get the details.
Well, I'm here for the fans. The fans, The fans want smart ass comments while you're watching it live. That's what the fans want.
And
Uh,
this is why I don't watch shows with you, because you be doing stuff and talking, and I'm actually trying to sit there and absorb and have an
I'm gonna be
experience.
live tweeting during the Avengers. How about that?
I'm not sitting next to you.
Nah, I'm lying through my teeth. There ain't no way in hell I'm gonna have that phone out while I'm doing the
Be
event.
like the last time we was at the movies together, I'm throwing popcorn at the back of your head.
You lying through your teeth. I did not touch my phone one time while we was in there.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
Yes, you
Um,
did.
but before we wrap this second, we just want to do a quick brief. We're going to get in later in the week. We still got our Fast and the Furious 7 wrap up. We're going to do a review of that. We're also going to do a review of Daredevil. The whole season is out there, so we're definitely going to be talking about that. Amongst other things, issue 140 of The Walking Dead was released last week, and I'm telling you, if you're keeping up with the comic, there's some really, really interesting things going on with that story. So we have a lot here on YouTube. We're now breaking this thing up into as many different videos, different content. King Face, who had the bow out early on, he's like got a whole bunch of stuff about comics. He want to do some comparison for Age of Ultron type stuff. So we're going to get into that. One last thing before we wrap this up, Potbelly. I know you heard that the first 4 episodes of Game of Thrones was leaked online. Tell me you heard about that.
I did hear about that.
How do you feel? I've been reading some of the comments online about it, and people tend to fall into different camps. HBO historically has bragged that Game of Thrones is the most pirated TV show. They actually used to in years past brag about that they're so good of a show that they're the most pirated show, as if that gives them street cred. And it hasn't been any official words from HBO as far as having the first 4 episodes leaked up front. As a fan of the show, a fan of the books, how do you feel about the idea that right now some people out there already know what's going to happen these first 4 episodes before the rest of us? You think that's a big deal or what?
I mean, not really, man. In this day and age of leaks and hacks, I mean, it just kind of comes with the territory. And it's at the end of the day, it wouldn't be the first time that this has happened. And even with HBO has this thing where sometimes they'll put out 1 or 2 episodes ahead of schedule anyway. They've done that in the past. A couple of other networks have done that. Showtime, I think Stars, they'll put out a couple of episodes ahead of time. And then you got Netflix that's encouraging binge watching. So they're putting whole seasons out on day one. I think we might be at the start of a trend now, as far as TV is concerned, and getting more content up front. Because let's face it, like even though HBO is a television network, HBO is also a service. HBO is an on-demand service as well. Kind of similar to Netflix. So I don't see a big deal.
So do you think to get around this problem, HBO might want to consider following the Netflix model and just a new season and the whole season is up there at once?
But that's I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make. I think that in some way HBO may in part maybe in whole start heading in that direction because they've been toying with that for a long time anyway. They'll say, season starts, whatever, like today, April 12th, and then halfway through the season, they'll, kind of put 2 episodes back to back out the same night, or the episode you just watched will be available on demand right after the show, and then a new episode will be available that Monday. Like they've done that before, so this is not new. This is more episodes that have been released at one point in time than they have before, but it's still an extension of what they've already done in the past. Now, who knows? Somebody at HBO might actually be behind this and they may be testing this out, to see, how it works.
Kind of like the Deadpool test footage that leaked out when Ryan Reynolds was keep hitting brick walls with Fox to make the movie, and then all of a sudden the test footage leaked out. Everyone loved it, and now we have a Deadpool movie coming that is rated R. Might I add?
Absolutely. This
That's
might
it.
be calculated because let's be honest, man, Netflix is changing the game up.
It
You
is,
know,
and you know what? It's funny
Netflix hasn't hit
because,
a bomb yet. Like everything they touch right now is turning to gold.
and it's funny. It's also the model as well. HBO is used to getting their money through the cable subscription thing. With HBO now just launching, this is going to be the first time on a massive scale where they're going to have people subscribing to them only,
They're cutting out the middleman.
at almost double the rate that people are paying for Netflix and Hulu. I did a price comparison on Twitter. Netflix is basically $8-9. I think it's $9 a month. Hulu's
$7.99.
Hulu's $7 a month. Amazon Prime, if you break it down monthly, is like $6.59 a month. HBO is $15 a month, and so is Sling TV. But Sling also gives you, like, 15 channels too. So, you know, if they get the subscribers on par with Netflix, we don't know what that magic number might be for HBO. Maybe it's a fourth of the subscribers.
Think
Maybe
about
it's
it like this too, though. Like think about market share. Like think about what's really been holding cable television together. Like most people have cable as a result of HBO. Like if you talk to like most people, like yo, why you still got cable? Man, HBO, Stars, like some of the shows you look at, a network like Cinemax HBO, same show, but you got shows like Banshee now. Like everybody's creating all this original content.
mhm.
So people are really holding on to cable, not for the local channels because you can get those now with the digital antennas. So I mean, folks are like literally holding on as a result of HBO. HBO is the granddaddy of them all. Like you figure all the groundbreaking shows they put out there, like The Sopranos, like The Wire. They redefined
Even the stuff that followed Game of Thrones tonight. I'm personally a fan of Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, Veep, that I personally don't like, but
Veep is funny as hell to me. I love Veep personally.
I know you like it. I'm not a fan, but at the end of
And
the
now it
day,
looks like they're doing a show with The Rock called Ballers.
Ballers, that joint like the
Like
same
that's gonna
show.
be hot.
But think about it like this: if people holding on because of HBO, if HBO as a content provider is able to adopt a Netflix model and
Ho-
go out on their own, cutting out the middleman, I mean, think about what that means for the game. Like that's
Look,
a complete game changer.
I have to get some feedback to what's going on in our chat. Are you following the chat? It's hilarious. Um, one of our viewers that's chatting right now, Umar, he's talking about how he binge watches and then feel like a crackhead coming out the bender. Uh, Bison says that he thought Game of Thrones was boring tonight. Uh, you know, and Umar follows up with his crackhead references and says, once it's over, he get the shakes. So, I speaking of binge watching, real quick, I think binge watching is one of those things where you can only do it with any real substance when it's multiple seasons. Like when I first got into the Arrow, I got into Arrow right when they were getting ready to start season 3, I believe. I think you have to watch at least 2 seasons because if you get a show like where you watch one season and it's over, I think that's more painful than if you have multiple seasons and then you can kind of just sit back and be like, oh, multiple seasons, you can wait for the next season. Maybe it's just me. But again, like I think HBO, if they follow that model, I think it has to do more with money. I think if they start turning over a hefty profit from just people subscribing to HBO without the cable companies, they might consider looking at the Netflix model and say maybe we should do this, especially when you think about how much original content they have.
That's true.
And
If I could
Netflix
cut the cord on
And
cable
Netflix
tomorrow, I
started
would.
and Netflix kind of started as like a watered down HBO when you think about it. They just were showing, movies that had been released,
Reruns.
and now they're trying to get into original content. Whereas HBO's already kind of been doing the Netflix thing forever. They got their own content, plus they've been showing movies that come out. The difference was that they were just only available to cable. So in truth, HBO is Netflix. This is just their first time breaking away from cable and saying, hey, we're going to do it without the middleman. And they're able to charge double what Netflix is charging, and people are willing to pay.
pretty much, because they laid down the groundwork already, man. You look at it, they they established everything. Like they set the trend. Like they are the market leader.
I say, I say HBO and or Netflix should buy each other. They should just
I,
they should just merge, charge us like $18, and call it a day.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was in the works. Would not.
Personally, I'm putting a personal uh, Apple logo in the sky for Tim Cook. Tim, just in all the madness and just buy all of them and
Listen,
make it
man. I
exclusive.
need Apple to
Make
come
it make it
Apple
make it
TV first.
make it exclusive to all Apple devices, please. And
Because right now my
just
Apple
buy the
TV
just
is
buy
a
the whole
huge
thing.
disappointment.
Uh, you first off, you don't obviously get the point what Apple TV was trying to do. But that being said, Apple TV is looking to do a major overhaul in June, which is why they reduced the price to $69,
Dude, I
which is
get what
why
they're
they're making
trying to
all the
do.
Hulu
That's
deals.
why I got it. But
So then, why are you going to huge disappointed? It
I
does
said
what?
so far it's been a huge disappointment. I'm waiting for the changes to come in.
Well, the rumor has it that in June it's going to be all about multimedia. They're going to be launching the revamped Beats, looking like $10 to $15 a month. I don't know what that all is going to include. And they look like they're also going to finally launch that Apple TV stuff that Steve Jobs had wanted forever and a day, which is basically the kill cable. And I personally think everything is going to be a race for data now. Once they lose all these cable subscribers, it's going to be who has the fastest connections and who gives you the most data for the most money. Um, I'm begging for Google Fiber to get their butts up here. Because Google Fiber and AT&T are hashing it out on random places across the country, with internet speeds that's ungodly right now. Um, real quick, I'm going to finish with some of these last comments we got in the chat. Talking about, Bison, he putting it out there that, streaming is basically not going to really catch on and be as successful like services like Sling until they handle that sports issue. You know, sports is a big thing. NFL Network,
Yeah,
NHL,
got a point.
NBA. You gotta get that. They gotta solve that. Make those partnerships. I'm thinking the various leagues are gonna want to do their own thing too. And see, and that's gonna start creating problems when you think about it, because it's gonna be like, okay, you can pay for cable, or you could be nickel and dime, $10 here, $7 there. Before you know it, you may very well. Some might say
But that gives Apple the leg up in creation of a platform.
that was actually the supposed plan of Steve Jobs, where it was going to be like you just pay for what you want. If you happen to want all of them, it's probably going to be cheaper for you to get cable. you know, but for a lot of people, Netflix, Hulu, and HBO is pretty much all you need. And I've been experimenting with some other stuff, just so everyone can know. You can get an HD tuner for $30, and an antenna, no, the tuner for $79, and the antenna for $30. That will allow you to stream HD local channels to include ABC, Fox, CW, NBC, etc., etc. So for geeks, that means you'll be able to get Arrow in the Flash.
Agents of Shield.
Yeah, let's just break it down to the way we need to hear this. Agents of Shield, Gotham, all that stuff. Supernatural. What's the show with the headless horseman? Sleepy
Sleepy
Hollow.
Hollow.
I actually got caught up watching this. I was out of town this weekend, and somebody was watching it. I don't know what season they were watching. I never was a fan of the show, never could get into it. But that one episode, I said, okay, I was mistaken.
What
I
show
need
is this?
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow
I
is
said,
good.
I said, okay, I've
Keep
been
in mind,
mistaken.
though.
I need to get to Netflix or wherever the hell it is and start from scratch and see why was I being an idiot about this show. That being said, um, and I'm only going to price this from the Xbox One perspective, because if you're a preview beta user, like some of us are, it's already in the software on our Xboxes. It's going to be coming out in the next couple of months. you can get this whole package. The tuner for $79, the antenna for $30. You hook that up in your house, and you can watch live TV on your Xbox. So there you go. Combine that with something like a Sling, or not even Sling. If you already got Hulu and Netflix, then you don't need Sling because you got your live TV covered. You may not have your HGTV anymore, but you at least get all the stuff you could miss, like previously recorded TV on Hulu and Netflix. And then on top of that, you got your HBO, and you can pretty much do all of this without cable for less than $50, and you just pay for your data. So it's possible right now with existing technology to cut the cord, unless you just have to see BET. For whatever reason.
Dude, I feel like when you said that, Aaron Magruder went, huh?
you know. Uh, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it with there. There's an interesting discussion going on in the chat. I believe it's going to be stuck with the video whenever we actually wrap this up and it becomes archived. So I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank Potbelly for sitting here joining us tonight. We'll be back. Just check our YouTube channel, subscribe to it for updated videos. We're also in the middle of a website revamp. Woohoo! So be checking out the blackgeeks.com as we make some changes to push more content that you all know and love. I also want to put it out there. If you know any geeks out there who are looking to participate with writing op-eds, video, whatever content they want, let them get in touch with us. Tell them to get in touch with us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all at the Black Geeks. On the website, blackgeeks.com. We definitely want to hear from you. We definitely want you to be a part of Blurred Media. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Potbelly. We'll see y'all next time. Later.
Peace.